If you are a sensitive person, you might feel mentally drained after using technology or were exposed to a lot of screen time. You are not imagining that. In today's channeled message, we're going to explore why sensitive people feel overwhelmed, constantly drained, and overstimulated in a world that is shaped by computer screens and tech. As usually, I invite you to just take what resonates and leave the rest. Afterwards, I'm going to explain a short tip how you can best integrate the message today. If you don't know me yet, I'm Anya. I'm a channel and an Akashic reader. And now I invite you to step into the mind of the guides. Technology teaches you a different way of thinking. It is outcome orientated. It is less experience orientated. Your human mind is constructed for experience. It is not so much constructed for outcome. It is meant to be an enjoyable experience overall. Technology, you see, when you use, it is guiding your mind to think in a certain way which is unhealthy. It is against the human nature. It is against your original rhythm, the flow your mind wants to take. It is training your mind to think in a way that it is not intended to think. That is taking a lot of energy to become something you're not, to do something you're not meant to do. It's like walking with your hands upside down. Yes, you can do it, but it will be incredibly exhausting and a hurtful experience overall. Think also not only of the different systems you use. Android, you say. Apple. They teach you to think in a certain hierarchy. Find your way around a certain labyrinth. Every human on earth follows either this or that system. Over a longer period of time, it teaches you to think a certain way. You lose the ability to think in your own way, your original way. And it is always telling you to follow logic instead of gut, emotion, desire. You lose your mind doing it. Think of the many times you were actually looking for something on this internet and then finding yourself doing 1,000 other things until you realize, oh, I came here to do something completely different, but I got lost in the labyrinth. It is intoxicating. It is poisoning you. Therefore, you feel drained and sometimes even intoxicated after using it. Leaves you feel a bit drunk, headachy, sweaty, overheated, like the computer. So by doing this for a longer time, you become a bit of it. Think of many times you did something you did not want to do. When you are kind, you become kinder. When you're bored, you don't become more funny. When you are forced to do labor you don't like to, you become a robot. And when you sit at a computer for a prolonged period of time, or when you're around media in general, you become something you're not. And all these things you read, information you gather, the energy that is transmitted by this also reaches you, gets absorbed into you, and leaves no room for your thoughts, for your feelings, for how you are. So you're filled up to the brim with energy that is not yours, tasks to do. You're never finished with work when you sit in front of a computer, we have noticed. There is always a billion tasks to do, always. You're never ever finished. It keeps you at the computer. It prevents you from living. And your nervous system is overstimulated. You cannot ground yourself as much as you need to anymore. Therefore, limit your time at a computer. That is not the same effect than when you are an alcoholic and need to stay away from alcohol for a complete abstinence. Learn to listen to your body, we say, and learn to preserve your way of thinking. Do not take on Android. Do not take on Apple. You are human, designed differently. Don't let your mind be persuaded to think in these patterns, binary patterns, right, wrong, yes, no, dark, bright. Your mind is a creative thing. It wants to be diverse, plentiful, and original. So if you wish to preserve that, do creative things, that is much more helpful here than be of abstinence with the computer. It's not needed. But we say, limit your usage. It's the same thinking. It is not thinking like a human mind. It is thinking like a computer. It is looking for logical structures. It can be created within some boundaries. But it's not creativity. It's creativity for a computer. It will never think of something that hasn't occurred to it, in the meaning of it has not been fed with it. It will never tell you to switch off. It will always engage you, keep you put. You must be master in this too, over these things that tell you to do certain things. Don't let anyone, anything tell you what you must do or not do. Spirit guides included. Because your minds want to be busy sometimes, thinking, and not only computing, translating what it is being fed. Also, think of it like this. When you outsource the tasks, the little small tasks in any product, in any project, to the computer, because it is quicker, right? This is how you arrive at creative solutions. It's the way that is bringing you there. You cannot have a creative solution when you don't do the work yourself, when you don't experiment around with it. Thinking it in your mind is making the magic. When you use things like results from artificial intelligence. We will not say it's tarnished, but it's not the same quality that when it comes out of your mind. You're more brilliant without it. You can have a fine print of a wonderful painting. And then there is the original that smells of the colors being used. You can see the little things, the details. It looks different, it has a different kind of energy, but many hours the artist spent there. The little things they painted over. It's all there. The print tells a different story. It tells a story of efficiency, invention. But also it tells also the story of economy and large quantity. This is a different quality. You have to decide what you want. But the real thing comes out of your mind and from your hands. We will not say never use a computer or technology is bad. No, it has its merits. We see that. But you use it in a way it is not intended to use, and you are being used in a way that you're not intended to be used. We want you to be focused on the real path. Everything is so much different than you think it is. We are still feeling like you're being told a lot. And we are very careful with all the channelings we give you. We're very careful sometimes only giving one sentence answers because we don't want to be also those who tell you. We want you to use your mind, to be your own master. Be independent, find the power, find the strength. So, as you come back from this message, let it sink in for a second. I know they always speak a lot about different stuff, but most certainly something will have stuck out for you, some sentence, some imagery will have talked or spoken to you specifically and will probably be stuck in your mind and you're looping on it a bit. So let it sink and rest for a second and feel inside your body. I feel what we really neglect sometimes when we talk about everything intellectually is also the awareness in your body. So let's focus a bit on the body work here, especially in this context with AI and technology. What stuck out for me the most was that AI is everywhere, technology is everywhere. We cannot think about living or working, being without it, because it's so much more convenient sometimes, right? To take the shortcut and outsource some tiny tasks. And that is fine. How often you do that, how much you use that, that is up to you and how you feel comfortable with this. But when you feel drained, when you're very sensitive to being around technology a lot, when you feel it messes with your head, with your nervous system, what really spoke to me the most was that is totally natural. And it is reminding us that we are different. We are completely differently designed in a way that we think and arrive at solutions. Those solutions we outsource and want to be done quickly, right? Because they're tedious sometimes. We arrive at them differently. And the process is here so important because we're designed to do this creative way. We have this experienced, focused living here on earth. This experienced, is based on our trials and errors. And we need sometimes a trial and an error to arrive at a more creative solution. And let's not forget that we do not only come with this own biorhythm and rhythm of thinking, of experiencing, of learning, and of doing stuff, but we also have an additional compound, and that is moral or ethics. And AI hasn't that. It does not think in a way that you do. It just weigh probabilities. It's a completely different thing. So I think it's good to keep that in mind, especially working with AI. That is a special topic within this topic of technology, you could say, but also in the broader context of how much technology do I want to be around with? How much technology can my body tolerate, actually? And just get back to what is really nourishing here. And I love that they also give us directly a good hint. We do not have to switch off, have a complete detox. Some people might actually panic by digital detox. You can do that if you feel that is something you feel being called to do, and give your body or nervous system a rest. Switch off all those stuff. Do it for a weekend if you feel good. And let's see how you react. If that directly has an impact on your nervous system, your sleeping pattern, your way of being relaxed within your home. If you cannot, then just focus on what lets you be human in this creative way of thinking, being, experiencing, and this trial and error stuff. So the best thing for me, I found, is being creative. I like to color something, draw, painting. You might want to make music, or do anything with your hands where you can experiment with yourself a bit and see, try cooking a new recipe, do some needlework. I don't know what guys do, probably working with tools or stuff. Be creative here, and whatever suits you, that's the way to go, right? But be not only an expert all the time. That is what I wanted to say also, because technology teaches us to be most efficient, most quick in learning, and doesn't want us to make the trial and error way. But let's put ourselves every now and then in the shoes of a beginner and learn something new and be in this awe-fulfilled kind of state, like a child, when we have the joy of, for the first time, discovering something, making the beginner's mistake, and trying to find our way here to become an expert. And this is something we can only do as humans in our very human way. So let's get back to the initial question: why are sensitive minds so sensitive around computer and technology? Why do we feel drained so much? It messes with our natural rhythm, our way of thinking, and wants us to correct our way of thinking. So if you spend a lot of time in front of a screen, in front of technology, your left brain, the logical side of your brain, will get activated a lot. So if you're very sensitive, an empath, very spiritual person, the right side of your brain, where all this resides, will be inactivated a bit. And there is an imbalance on thinking, feeling, experiencing, listening, receiving. So you need to find back into the balance. And that is done by being creative, being more human, and realizing you do not have to be like or as efficient like technology all the time. It's a good reminder that while our world becomes so much more technology based, we are different and we are allowed to be different, and that is actually our strength. All right, I found this channeling very deep. I'm coming back to this every now and again. I've done it a few weeks ago and am now only ready to share this with you guys. The start of the fire horse was a bit lame for me because it felt really. I think I'm in this liminal space between the snake and the horse still, so I haven't found my own rhythm to jump on the back of the fire horse and ride it with all strength. I'm still struggling a bit to adjusting to this higher energy. How are you feeling, by the way? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious and I want to share with you. So I see you next Friday, and until then, let's be creative. Bye.